Hello, my name is Francis Fox, and I have information for you. And please excuse me if I sound confused or not confused, but not organized mentally. The information is so exciting, I'm going to present it without trying to organize it first. I was giving a workshop today. Today is the 28th of May, 2025. And the workshop was on your bladder. A lot of females have bladder issues in terms of leaking, and I wanted to try and help out and find out what the issues were. Fascinating. It turns out that at least the people that I took care of today and the people that I've checked in the past, the issue with the bladder is a deep resentment against men. This is if they're females. Um, and this issue creates a congestion of the fire element in the bladder. So we got together, I checked everybody's bladder, I had them do the purification mantra, which is even though I hate men, I love and accept myself. Now, if you're a male, you can change it to women. Even though I hate women, I love and accept myself. But it was mainly females. And what I found is that the bladder is so full of our anger at men that of course it's not going to work properly because you have that congestion of the fire element. And so the bladder, when they would do the mantra, even though I hate men, the bladder started to move and thrust out vectors of rage, which I found fascinating. And so I recommended that everybody do the mantra, the purification mantra, even though I hate men, I love and accept myself, for weeks until they were able to resolve whatever issue they have with their bladder. But what was interesting, and I don't remember how it was that I got triggered to look in that direction. Um, I remember. I was saying that the bladder is like a battleground between male and female energies, and there is an intention by those who don't want humans to create light, to be full of light. There's an intention in the bladder to stop that by congesting any anger that let's pretend this is only a female issue even though it's not. So that if you're female and you've been sexually abused or your brother was abusive in other ways or whatever, your anger that you didn't process is can be in your bladder. Okay, so it's congested there. What I found was that there is a matrix implant into the bladder having to do with participation in this battle between male and female. And in a minute, I'll explain to you what's so important and why the graphic that I chose for this chat. Venus sent a channel that looks exactly like the movie Matrix, where they stick that channel in the back of Neo's neck. They sent it to the bladder, but they implanted it in the bladder to send the energy of love to the bladder to balance out the programming of hating men. That's great. So now now that I've decided to finish figuring out the whole matrix issue, why people instinctively knew it was so important to understand that movie, it turns out that there's some good implants, such as this one from Venus. The problem with the implant from Venus is, and it's not an implant that I should be cutting at all, is that it's tied up. There are metallic ties, like the kind that you use to tie up your garbage bag when you're getting ready to throw it out. There are ties on that channel, which basically is a huge mind string from Venus. There's a tie there. So the help that Venus wants to give us to balance out the energies in the bladder does not arrive. We cannot receive it. What's my point here? My point is that humans, we're like little marionette dolls that have all sorts of strings, mind strings going into us, all the ones from when everybody we ever had sex with, those mind streams stay in us for 12 years, also in our partner. We're not going to talk about that now. And now it turns out that Venus tried to help out, and I'm sure that we're going to find a lot more of these implants that are positive. They're not just negative. Now, how do you open up this channel for Venus to your bladder? You have to do a visualization, which is the way healings are done. And you visualize that you have a pair of scissors, but the ones with very long point, and you go to that channel and you just intend on going there. You find where it's tied up with these metallic strings, and you cut it. Now, you should do a mantra while you're doing that. Okay. But let's go to the bigger picture of male, female. The book that I wrote, Sex, We Need to Figure This Out, which nobody is buying because they don't want to hear the information, because they don't get it. And that's the title, Sex, We Have to Figure This Out. The male female issue is this. It's a bottom line. When you get, and it doesn't have to do with bodies, it has to do with energies. So the whole gay thing and bisexual, nothing to do with that. It has to do with a union of male and female energies. Okay. So years ago, when I wanted to understand what microwave frequency, which is all wireless, is microwave frequency in our environment, what it does to electricity, because we are a very electric body. Our immune system is electric. Our brain is a separate electrical system. Our heart is a separate electrical system. And our entire body has an energy body called the etheric body that's electric, 110 electric. So I wanted to understand electricity, and I wanted to be able to see it because I had not been able to see it. And I had somebody that created a little box that created electricity, and then we used a cell phone to look at the microwave. And when we turned on both, I was able to see the energy of microwave completely overwhelmed the electric energy, which means that microwave is overwhelming the electricity in humans, which is in several places in humans. Okay, that's fine. But I wanted to understand what is electricity, and I couldn't get anybody to explain it to me. And if you look on the internet, you're not going to find an explanation of what electricity is, because according to somebody who's an engineer, they don't really know. But my gardener knew. How is that? He said, "Oh, what is electricity? That's easy. You get the cord that's male, and then you get the other cord that's female. You put them together, and that's why the graphic, and you get electricity." Since then, I have understood that the coming together of male and female energy, not bodies, energies, when you get them together and they truly unite, you get light. You get electricity, you get light, which is what we're all looking for, to be full of light. And that is why we get all of the sabotage, all of the interference, all the negative matrix type implants. What I didn't know until today is that we do have positive matrix type implants. So I will be sharing more of them with you in the future, but I just needed to share this that we just discovered this morning at 12 in one of my workshops. Your bladder is a battleground having to do with how you feel about the opposite sex or the sex that you feel is your opposite. And if you have anger you haven't processed, it's in your bladder, and decades later, you can have a lot of issues. But there is help from Venus, but we need to unclog that particular mind stream. And you can do it with a visualization. You need to trust yourself. That is how all healings are done. That is how all is manipulated in the other dimensions. How it is manipulated through intention and through visualization. And if you can add images, that would be great too. Anyway, I just wanted to share this. I'm Frances Fox. I hope to be your favorite psychic spy. I was trained as a spy, not my choice, never compensated. But you know what? I really enjoyed doing this. And if I hadn't been through that god awful training and done those god awful things, I wouldn't be able to be here today sharing this monumental information in end times. Thank you for joining me.